Welcome back, everyone, to our quick overview study guide of the book of John. We're still in chapter 3, and we're starting at verse 22. And Jesus, now after the talk with Nicodemus, changes, and they are actually walking into the land of Judea. And he was spending time baptizing. John was also baptizing. I forget how to say this. Arenon. Apparently, this is a modern day Jordan. Is it Jordan? I forget my geography already. But this is before, chronologically, when John was arrested. And we're going to get into some, some really just juicy, Christology here. It's just, it's just oozing. My view again is that we're hearing a story that is written in the historical present tense, if that makes sense to you. So it's written in the now, but it's referring to previous. But not necessarily past tense for the most part of the book. So he's looking back. He's looking back and he's reminiscing. He says, "Hey, remember when this happened?" And it has all kinds of new meaning now to me, John, that I want to share with you based on what I saw, revelation-wise. And then I think about what I saw in the past and what I'm recognizing and what I wanted to tell you here. And that's why it's such a great book. It's really just... you could just sit here and just read this all day long and just hang on every single word. And I'm going to do my best to also include little things here and there. They don't screw with John too much, in a sense, theologically, but I'll point it out where these crossroads come up so you can get the best idea of what's going on. But, here he's talking... one of the disciples comes up and they're talking about purification. Okay. People were coming in. Then John is answering, "A man can receive nothing unless it has been given him from heaven." Now, again, this is another one of these clues, one of these words, one of these verses. It's like, wow. I really want you to take the time to just focus on what I'm saying here, just this exact verse. But in a lot of these other verses that you're reading, this is really, really saying something. A man can receive nothing unless it comes from heaven. That means through God. Okay? So God is in the position here, according to John, that makes that decision to accept you into the kingdom of God, his kingdom, or not. Because that's who you have to get permission from. Nobody on this planet, not me, not you, not your church, not your grandma, not both your grandmas combined, nobody can give you permission. No one can do it except God. And you need to understand that. That's why you have to go to him in prayer, because you have to work it out with him. This is actually a very selfish endeavor. It really is, because it's all about you. It's kind of like being on that airplane. It's like you got to put your own mask on first before you can help anyone else, right? But here it's something that you have to work on for you, for yourself, and then your wife. And she teaches you things, and you teach her things, and you go back and forth. And then you both raise your kids up with these teachings. This is how it works. Maybe you talk to other people, maybe you don't. Most people, when they hear this stuff, they're not going to like you very much. I could guarantee you that. And I've just met a couple more people that are the same way. Everyone hates them. Why? Because they decided to start reading the Bible for themselves. And guess what? Even with the horrible translations that we have, not saying what their church was telling them. And they would ask questions. And guess what? They eventually got pissed. Really pissed. To the point where it was just uncomfortable to continue to go. They do not control anything. When you go to church, you're going to see your equals, and everyone on this planet is your equal, whether they're Christians or not. You're not any better than them. You see something that they don't want to see or can't see, and that's their problem, not yours. But you go to a place to be with other people who are supposed to be like-minded like you. That's what church is. It's a community of people that see Christ as their Savior. But it's also community-based. So it can extend beyond that. It's just those people that it extends beyond and doesn't really seem to care. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's the process we have here on earth. There's no higher anything. There's people who are responsible, like myself. I did it myself, though. Because when I share this stuff from you, I am in that position where I am risking. You have to understand, I have nothing to gain by what I'm saying and everything to lose by what I'm saying. And I'm not above you. I'm serving you. I'm serving you by sharing what I've been going through in order to maybe you'll see something too. Or maybe you'll think there's no one else like me out there, and then you find me and you're like, maybe I'm better off being like everyone else instead of like this guy. But that's just the way it is. I'm here to serve. And all those people should be serving you as well, but it doesn't seem like they really are they? They're just a bunch of group of people that agree with each other and stick together with their ideals. But it's not up to them. It's not even up to you. It's up to God. Do you see this? These are the type of proofs right here that goes along with what I'm saying to you. It's through prayer. It's through God. That's where you need to go. Everything else is just extracurricular. Okay? Verse 27. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. Yeah, it's something else, but John is, lamenting. He's saying, look, I've come before him. Where does it say that? I think it's later. But he's talking about how I have come before him to pave the way for him. So this joy of mine has been made full. He must increase, I must decrease. I mean, you have to also understand that John, even Jesus, and you, and Peter, and every other Christian, the Virgin Mary, the Mother Teresa, people that are actually doing things, and if they really are or not, I don't know, but we are all workers in God's kingdom. Some are more famous than other ones. Some have been given, like Christ, more responsibility, right? Maybe Christ was just like you on some other planet somewhere, and he was devout. And God said, just like the parables Jesus gave us, the one who had 10 coins had 20 coins when his master came back. And they took the coins away from someone else and gave it to him. I mean, we don't really know. I'm just talking out of my rear. But we just don't know. But it seems like Jesus was entrusted with a lot. And there has to be some reason why that is. But he is a worker just like you are. We're all workers. And that's what John is. He's a part of the system. But it's all for God. And it's all for you. It's for you because they're serving him. So they're serving you. Just like those elders in the churches. They should be serving you. Not manipulating you like they do. And everyone does it. I'm sure I do it too, on some level. But I know better, and I'm not doing it on purpose. I've made videos and caught myself doing something, and I took it down and redid it. It's happened. It's very difficult, and it's scary. But that's what we're here for. And that's why you can't trust anyone except God. You can learn from me. You could learn from an atheist. What that lesson is may be different. I don't think you'll learn Christological things from, I don't know, Bart Ehrman. But you might. Okay? But just because it came from him doesn't mean it's true. You have to trust where God is showing you and taking you. That's what you have to have faith in. That he's going to give you what you need. And if you ask for something, which is what I do a lot, I ask a lot. Especially back then when I was reading more. I'd ask a lot, I'd get answers. I ask a lot of questions, I get a lot of answers. I play some part in his kingdom. Same thing as you do. Even now. Even you may not even realize it, but you are. And that's what John is. And John understands. I don't know if John knows that he's going to die in the manner that he is, like Jesus. But he definitely knows what's up. And it seems like he's had a pretty rough life on earth. But it was necessary to do what he was doing. And he did it. Just like Jesus. He's a great man for it. And even Jesus acknowledges this. But then he says, but out of everyone, John is, the low man on the totem pole. Because he's here to serve. And Jesus says the same thing too. He takes the lowest spot. He's washing people's feet, right? Think about it. That's what John is bringing you in this book. He's bringing you perspective. Everyone thinks Jesus is the king. I'm not saying he's not. He is, but he's a king that's serving. Just like you are serving. And that's what John is saying here. He who comes from above is above all. Whoa. This is another type of proof, I think, for what I think it's saying, is that Jesus is above all. He's the one with authority. More authority than John. More authority than Peter and Isaiah, Moses, Paul, Josephus. I don't know. Name one of those early church fathers. Deuteronomus. I don't know. Who cares? Because Jesus is the one who has all the authority. Why? Because he's above. He's from above. He's the only one that met with God and talks to God. Came from God. This didn't happen to Paul. He apparently went up there. What for, I don't know. He doesn't really say. And a lot of people think what happened and what is kind of mixed in with his writings. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like it's kind of secret. But maybe something's in there. But with John, boy, he's just letting it all out. It doesn't seem like he's really restricted here. And I'm sure the events that took place that I see, it's saying to me when I read it, has already happened. So it seems like the cat's out of the bag at this point. And he's saying, he who comes from heaven is above all. He has all the authority. Everything he says is what you pay attention to. And that's what needs to be understood by us disciples. This is step one. Then you read Paul, then you read Peter, then you read all the epistles, then you read the Old Testament, if you even care at that point. But there's nothing in the Old Testament that's going to help you. There's nothing that Peter's saying that Jesus didn't already say. They may expound upon things, like John is. He's expounding. But he's just showing you a little bit different view in a little different way, expounding on certain things of Christ. These things should already have been known and would have been apparent, but it's nice that someone kind of, what's the word? Lays it out for you in a little more detail, Like you're that stupid kid in class like I was, everyone else understood, and then They're like, you understand? And I'm like, I don't know. I think so. He's like, here, let me do it again. Let me hold your hand. And, oh, okay. I got it now. Okay. Yeah. Need a little bit more, or maybe a little different view, right? And that's what I hope you might be able to get off of me, is maybe you just see it a little bit different way. But this right here is proof that Jesus, and only Jesus, is the only authoritative figure in all of this planet. Do you understand that? The only thing that matters is what he says. Everything else doesn't matter. People can reiterate it and all that kind of stuff, but it's something that's already been said. They can't build upon it. They can't add to it. They can't take away from it. It's the same. So if it sounds different, it's the same. And if you can't get over that, well, then Paul's wrong. And you're wrong if you take that view. And that's why Jesus, what he says, that's why it is very, very simple. It's unemotional. It's just 2 + 2 = 4. There you go. That's it. People don't get that because it's too simple, but that's how simple it is. You see these people on YouTube that strain, I went to this church and that church and this church and that church. I read all these books. I've got a whole library. I got a whole library behind me that I sit in front of. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm so confused. I don't know. But I'm an atheist now. You see what they do to themselves? If you just listen to Jesus, you'll know everything. You'll know everything you need to know. And it's not a power, it's just understanding. My understanding at this point, I could take on one of these university professors. They could care less about me. And I doubt they ever would. It would be stupid of them too. Even if I was incompetent and didn't know what I was talking about. And even if I did know what I was talking about, it'd still be a waste of time for them. They don't care. But I know. I may not know exactly what it means, but I know what it doesn't say. And you too can share in the same thing. If you pray and you ask, you can have every question answered that you want answered. If it matters, or if it's even real. Maybe what you're thinking doesn't even exist. Because at some point, he's writing now that the cat's out of the bag, right? After this time, it talks about, but the wrath of God abides on him. So this apparently is something that has existed either past these covenant transitions. It existed then, it still exists, or exists now, and it didn't exist before. Take your pick. Could be both, you'll never know. But he's really showing you what's going on here. He who comes from heaven is above all. That is just, that's what should be carved on the side of buildings. More than the Ten Commandments. It's sayings like this. This right here. And he says it twice. That's the other thing. He says it twice. I pay attention to this one, folks. I'm not kidding. Highlight it. He has what he has seen and heard of that he testifies, and no one receives his testimony. And this is another part. No one receives it. That's important too. I want to highlight that. That should be highlighted. See how easy this app is? Good app. Horrible app and a great app at the same time. Great for the wrong reasons. But no one receives his testimony. What he has seen and heard of what he testifies, and no one receives his testimony. He who has received his testimony has set his seal to, this, that means it's not really there, but they added it for English, right? To this, that God is true. God is true, meaning he lives up to his promises. I think that true. Unconcealed of things, true, conforming to reality. He's a man of his word. How about that? For he whom God has sent speaks the words of God. Do you understand? It's God's gospel. Jesus is sent down here to proclaim it for us. And we killed him. And we ignore what he says for what Peter says, or what for Isaiah says, or what we want to hear when we read. It's not about that. And if you just shut up and clear your mind and forget about all the things, including myself, including the things that I'm telling you, just clear your mind completely and read this. And you will see. When you pray and you ask and you read, you will see. You will see exactly what they're talking about. And it will bear witness to things that you can't possibly see or understand. But it will be witnessed here. That's what's so magical about this book. It's just a book. It's just a book like any other book. It's a great book, but there's an element that if you have, everything will open. You'll see. You can go into solitary confinement for the rest of your life and never be alone. Do you understand? That's what this book does. But you have to have that element first. If you don't, you're just pretending. Oh, wow, yeah, okay. And then, you go right back to being a dickhead. Which you probably are anyway. I am. But we're a dickhead who understands that they shouldn't be. But it still happens. But that's the whole lesson of life, is learning. No one receives his testimony. Jeez. And I'm sure I'd be one of those people too. You probably would as well. I don't know who did. There was something special about them. Some people don't get it right away. But that's fine. Because you'll still strive and you'll still ask. And you'll be shown. And then you'll get it. You can change. That parable of the seeds, some are thrown on rocks, some are thrown on the sidewalk, some are thrown on, maybe you were one of those seeds that just was gobbled up by some birdie. Or you grew a root, but then you dried up and died. But you know what? Every single season, you get another chance. So it's not over. It's not over until it's over. He who has received his testimony has set his seal to this, that God is true, for he whom God has sent speaks the word of God. For he gives the Spirit without measure. For free. Just like Revelation 21:28, or Revelation 21, 1 through 8. The person that thirsts for this will be given water from the spring of life without cost. Right? It's free. It's on the table. It's not given to you. It's not forced to you. But Jesus came, laid it on the table, and he says, anyone that wants it, there you go. You can have it. Just walk up and take it. That's what you have to understand. It's there. It's right in front of you. Take it. You don't know how to? Ask God. When you pray to him. You don't pray to God? Then you better start, or just don't worry about doing it, because it's not going to matter anyway. Either you do it or you don't do it. But you'll still be judged presently for not doing it. The Father loves the Son and has given all things into his hand. He's given him ultimate authority. All the authority to do everything. It's like a construction company. Okay, a corporation. And God started it, and everyone knows God. God's a great guy, and they built this, and they built that, and all the contractors worked with him. But then all of a sudden, God's like, I'm going to do some other stuff. I'm going to go fishing. This is my adopted son, Jesus. I'm putting him in charge of the company. He has all authority of the corporation. He has my permission, my blessing. And then Jesus goes out to these construction sites and no one wants to work with him. I don't know you. Who are you? We like God. We only like God. We want to speak to God. But God already said what he said. So they're screwed. Either they're going to work with Jesus or they're not. But that's the way it is now. And the ones that will work with Jesus are the ones that become his disciples in this sense. Does that make sense to you? That's the way it works. In this sense, at this time, that's how it worked. God gave him permission and all authority, and Jesus had it. People didn't want to work with Jesus. Okay, bye. Who does? That's who I will work with. That's who will be accepted. He who believes in the Son has eternal life forever. But he who does not obey the Son will not see life, but the wrath of God abides on him. When we make decisions, we're judged right then and there. But we do it to ourselves. And we can be forgiven like that. I'm sorry, didn't mean to do it. Do it again? Dang it, sorry. I know I'm not supposed to do it, but I'm doing it. I don't want to do it, but it happens. He understands you're in the program. The people that don't, oh, I did that because, he's a jerk. He deserved it. Doesn't work. Doesn't sound like that works for God. Let's just say that. Doesn't work. So you must have a relationship. That's the only thing that matters. If you can't go to him and you want to, either you just spend the rest of your life pretending or you do it anyway. It doesn't feel good. I don't pray to God all the time because you know what? I feel like an ass a lot of the time. Sometimes I don't even think about it. But then I do. And you should too. Don't worry about what you've done. Worry about learning, paying attention to what you're doing, and going to him.